That felt really good. And I love my BYU friends, but I love the Mountaineers more. What a win in Morgantown as West Virginia upsets BYU at home and stays in the conversation no matter what you want to say. Let's talk about it, baby. Let's go.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host here. Welcome back into a Winner's Circle edition of Locked On West Virginia. The Mountaineers led almost wire to wire against the 19th ranked team in the country with the number one player in all of college basketball. Amazing job by them. I'm so proud of this team. And welcome in, guys, to the show. Going to be brought to you by our friends from 5 Hour Energy. And right now with 5 Hour Energy, you can have your cake and you can drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. And obviously, I am not alone. Here to celebrate with me, and he has suffered with me through the last few losses here on the show, so I'm grateful to have my friend Troy back on. You're muted, buddy.
There we go. I don't know what's going on. Happy to be here. Big win. Man, felt good. 3-game losing streak, not to mention a 3-game overall losing streak at home, too. So it felt really, really good to give the fans what they want at Hope Coliseum. And like you said in the intro, man, I don't think we're dead yet.
We're not dead yet. And, you know, there were a couple players that really dominated this game. Brennan Lorient, what a game from Brennan Lorient. Just insane on the boards. Chance Moore down the stretch was so impactful. He may be the most explosive athlete I've seen at West Virginia alongside Sagaba Kanate. Like he is in that Joe Alexander. Like he's in that conversation with guys that elite. Honor Huff with the ball in his hands was so good at times tonight. Yes, he turned the ball over a couple times because of the length, but man, he made some beautiful drop passes in, and there was just so many contributors on this for this win. You know, I mean, Troy, we came in here and dished it out to the Mountaineers the last 3 games in a row when they lost, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to give it to them when they win too.
No, absolutely. We got to give them credit. This was all-out effort. I mean, when you look at like hustle stats, like offensive rebounds, Mountaineers had 18 offensive rebounds in this game. Chance Moore, again, you mentioned Belo in the second half. I don't know how many he had in the second half, maybe 14 or 15. Just effort plays. You could tell that there was a team that wanted it more today, and it was, it sounds cliche, whatever you want to call it, but West Virginia was the team that wanted it more. And, it's pretty unique. A unique game for West Virginia to be involved in, because we saw BYU make either 8 or 9 shots in a row in the second half, and they didn't make up much ground. You do that against the Mountaineers any other game this season, Mountaineers can go from up 4 to down 10, because we go so ice cold, but we were able to withstand the blows. They got really, really close.
They did. My butt was clenched, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Our offense, I mean, you've got to give the offense credit for the last 2 games, obviously, too, with Oklahoma State. But tonight to withstand, run, and push, I mean, BYU had displayed some impressive shot making down the stretch. Those 2 guys might be the best scoring duo in the Big 12, obviously, with Wright and DeBonsa. But West Virginia was able to match them and got enough points to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stretches here, BYU really, they did from 5, right around 5:14 left in the first. Honor Huff made a layup. And from then on out, it's, 1-3, 1-3, 5, 7, 9, all the way up to 14, back down to 3. But West Virginia led wire to wire from 5 minutes to go in the first half to all the way to end the game. BYU never took back over. Incredible offensive performance from the Mountaineers, and really a great defensive performance too to hold them to 71. I'll take that. If you'd have told me before the game you're going to hold BYU to 71, I would have said we had a shot. Not saying we would have won, but I would have felt like we had at least a shot to get there. So this is one of those games where we have to be proud of these guys, man. I just think that they've caused so much hell, and I am very guilty of giving it to them, and Troy as well at times. But it's all been fair. It's been rooted in fairness, right, and some emotions. But I think when you look at this team and how they're put together, there is a world where this West Virginia team can turn into that team that, let's say, from Clemson to the first couple games of league play, the offense wasn't really as much of a problem then, right? And I'm just wondering if this team can get back to that. You've got 2 games in a row now of offense not being the problem. Maybe they're turning it around a little bit. This team's never going to be an elite offensive team, but as long as you can just put stretches together where you can score, just once or twice. And I think they figured a couple things out. And I think it has a lot to do with Chance Moore, by the way, being on the floor. He just gives us so much more, and when DJ Thomas hits his shots like he did today, that's really what put us over. If he misses his shots, we lose. That's literally how razor thin it is.
Yeah, I've continued to say throughout the course of the season, how simple it can become. And I know you've heard me say this too, just shot making, putting the ball in the hoop when you have opportunities to do so. And against BYU, by and large, we did that. And, that's a welcome sight. But I do think it goes a level deeper than that from what we've seen over the course of the last 2 games. I do think they are figuring some things out from, a schematic standpoint, from, just situational awareness and, going back to where your bread is buttered and continuing to run things until they stop you. Belo in the low post is really, really impressive. Jasper Floyd, I thought another indicator of a really good offensive performance tonight was the fact that we had 17 assists in this one. BYU, one of the, better passing teams out there, only had 10. We had 17, which is abnormal for us. A lot of these offensive numbers are abnormal, but if we can get them becoming normal down the stretch of the season, that's a welcome sight.
I mean, if you'd have told me we made 8 threes in this game and shot at 32%, I probably would have took it, which is what we did. Amazing job from the free throw line today, by the way, 17 to 22, 77%. We'll take that. That's probably just above average, but still we'll take that. We're not expecting to be, this team's proven what it's not, like Ross had said in his press conference yesterday. Well, we're not, there's not going to be many big changes. It might be a wrinkle here and there. There's not going to be many big changes. People are either going to play better or they're not. And, Trey Eagle's staff had a tough game today. If you'd have told me he played 27 minutes and only had 3 points, I would have felt like that was bad. But, man, the 3 he did score were big. It was a tide-turning 3-point shot that he made. So, everybody contributed in their own way. Trey didn't have his best game, but, man, did other people step up in his stead. Chance Moore obviously did. Very, very excited about that. DJ Thomas with 13 points, 5 of 7 field goals with 2 threes. Great job, and he's a load. I can't wait till he gets an offseason to work on that shot and to get some muscle on him, because there were a couple times today where he just kind of got out muscled a little bit. Yeah. But not that he's not weak by any means, but BYU has some dudes down there. So this was fun, man. I question about something really quick. This is a little off topic. Do you feel like DeBonsa gets away with a little bit more than your average guy? Because those shoulders he gives him the space to shoot. I bet he got 8 or 10 points tonight off of the shoulder, giving him the space to pull up and shoot.
Yeah,
star players get that kind of treatment, but man, it was frustrating for me because he was tossing Belo off and there was air space,
Yeah. Did you know that he's got just tremendous poise? I don't know if they mentioned that enough. I don't know if you heard that he has really, really good poise.
They wanted BYU to win the game. The announcers,
he might be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Did you
Did you know that BYU they were making a comeback? Like they said that a bunch of times too.
If they didn't say that, I wouldn't have noticed. But
I know
the one thing I'll say about DeBonsa, incredible talent. I get it, but he does complain a lot. We got under his skin, on his nerves a little bit. So I do think with the way that he complains to refs too, he's NBA ready. I mean, that's a prerequisite.
I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of from the game standpoint. He's got a little bit of everything in him. He kind of reminds me of a few different guys, really. I have to think about it. In a lot of ways, he's not as big, but he's 6'9", but he's not as, I don't know. There's
First
a bunch
thing
of
that comes
guys.
to my mind is this guy's a better shooter, but he became a better shooter in the NBA. It's Brandon Miller. He's on a tear in Charlotte.
Yeah, right. You know who else he reminds me of? I think he's got a little Zion Williamson in him. You know, like, I mean, Zion obviously probably not the shooter, but
Right.
just from a physicality standpoint, the way he can get to the rim, he can't rise up like Zion could, you know, so maybe not the best pick, but he's got that size. I guess it's the ability to be so athletic at that size. Like only LeBron and a few other guys at 6'9" are so athletic. Very impressive, but Robert Wright was probably as impressive tonight. And, you know, I don't know why he left Baylor. I mean, that was so good. He was so good there. But man, I mean, well, I know why he left. He got paid, but very, very talented team. I mean, if they had their third wheel, we lose this game by 10 points, probably, right?
Yeah, they are. They're what the NBA used to be like, you know, a big three as far as scoring punch with Saunders in there, and now it's a big two. And you know, say what you will about them, you know, down the road and without Saunders and other injuries that they've had. With those two scores that they currently have, they're going to be a tough out for anybody in March.
Absolutely. They just the problem for them is they keep having to go small, and that's really hurting them now. So we'll go to break, come back. We got a couple other comments. We'll look at the box score and see what else it tells us. Or Troy, maybe you can find a couple other nuggets while I'm doing these reads. And then we'll kind of look down the road, and we're going to ask the usual questions, you know, like 2 teams left on the schedule you've already beaten. We got to have a conversation. We'll talk about it next. And of course, guys, we can't talk about anything right now other than our friends. And we do love our friends, don't we? At 5 Hour Energy right now, and it's the flavor time. Why is 5 Hour Energy always killing the game? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. Right now, it's the Flavor Time Profile Awards. And right now, what you're going to be talking about is 18 flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, and Cotton Candy. There is something for everyone. The board is set. Flavors are ready. And I've gotten a number 1 pick for the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. I think I'm going to go with today. I'm going to go with just strawberry banana because it's a tropical delight with strawberry. A taste that goes down from everything from smoothies to milkshakes to cakes to ice cream. Very versatile thing. Soft and mellow banana finish with a smooth, creamy fruit profile. Definitely want to check that out. And if you're feeling crazy, why not check out the Fruity Rainbow? It's got a bright blend of assorted fruit candy flavors, sweet with layered fruit notes in every sip, and it's got a playful multi-fruit taste profile with smooth and easy drinking texture. So, yes, this is not a wine tasting. This is 5 Hour Energy, and we are glad that you are interested in the product. Make sure you head to 5hourenergy.com, or you can head over to Amazon. And, of course, our friends at GameTime say hello. And right now with GameTime, guys, we all know that the NBA playoffs are a big deal. And have you ever been to the finals before? Because that's another part of this equation that maybe you're not so sure about. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because right now when it comes to the NBA finals, man, it's insane. Like, the biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here. There's buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. But being there live for something like that, that's bucket list stuff. The hardest part is actually getting tickets. Long queues, prices jumping around, surprise fees at checkout. GameTime app gives the fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly simple to use. GameTime guarantees 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. Here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see, which is pretty good stuff. And what you see, what you pay for, period. I love being able to follow teams in the app and get alerts when the new drills drop. There's no stress or no guesswork, just a smooth experience from start to finish. That's exactly what you want during the busiest part of the season. You too can take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create that account, and use that code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase with the terms apply. Again, that's create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON, no college. That's just locked on for $20 off your first purchase today. And download that GameTime app, and you'll answer the question of all questions. What time is it? It's game time. And, of course, in segment 2, we're going to crack a dew for the Mountaineers. And, Troy, this dew's for you.
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody what you've got going on in life right now besides being a street preacher.
That's right. So, Mountaineer moment, man. It's funny. It's crazy kind of thing. I don't know how long ago you and I interacted for the first time, but it's been a while, way back to football season, and I'm super appreciative of you having me on yet again over at Mountaineer Moment. We're going to have an episode coming out here within an hour or two, breaking down BYU, and we do that all throughout basketball season, so come join us over there.
Yeah, and Troy has a lot of experience, by the way, guys. I know people ask in the comments a few times, like, why is that guy so knowledgeable, or how is he so good at the job? Because it has been said that's because he has how many videos? At least 2,000, I think you said, covering the Sixers. So this is not really new to you talking about basketball, right?
Yep.
Okay, so just for credibility purposes. Anyways, looking at the box score, did you see anything interesting?
Well, I remember when we went to half, this wasn't just box score, but, BYU went the last 8 minutes without a field goal in the first half, and our best offense feeds off of our defense. And that's what allowed us to get out to that, double-digit lead at the half. That's something that sticks out to me. And then, again, just getting back to the effort and beating them on the glass, Belo and Chance Moore was flying around in the second half.
He was.
And, Belo continuing to go shot for shot. And keep in mind, those are the two primary defenders on the future number 1 pick. They were wore out. They had to have been, and yet they continue to just rise to the occasion and get it done. So, as far as BYU's numbers, again, 23 for Rob Wright. He was really, really good. Devonta 20 on 7 of 15.
But who else scored?
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Kostic off the bench had 12 on 4 threes. They shot 9 for 24.
He got hot early, though. That was it.
Both teams made the free throws, like you mentioned. And heck yeah, I'll take West Virginia 17 of 22 from the free throw line, because there's been games they are far away from that percentage. So
yeah, more like high. I've seen that. Have we had a game in the 50s? I know we had one in the 60s.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And we needed every single one of those.
Harlan Obioha played well tonight too, even though he didn't score a ton. He had some plays on the defensive end of the floor that really bothered them at the rim. He had some very impactful rebounds. Jasper Floyd, man, what a great performance from him. He got cooked a couple times today. That doesn't happen very often, but it happened to him today. But, man, he stuck with it. And I thought, man, he had a couple steals. Eagle Staff had a steal. Lorian had a steal. Honor Huff had a steal. Chance Moore had a steal and a block. 3 offensive rebounds. Brennan Lawrence with 7 offensive rebounds. Has to be the story of this game, though, to me. Outside of Honor Huff, I don't know. It's tough because I feel like you gloss over Honor Huff and the things he does, especially with the assists. He had the 6 assists. I thought they were so big. The 5 turnovers does put a mark against it. I'll probably have to say, either Chance Moore or Brennan Lawrence. I would probably give the MVP of this game, too. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Belo.
DJ Thomas for the first half, though.
Yep, DJ Thomas first half. And, the Hustle Award would be Chance Moore, and the MVP of the game would be Belo. He was, I don't know what he shot from the field down the stretch, over those last few minutes. I don't know that he missed, and he knocked a 3 after he got a couple down low too. He was real active as well. And again, he had to have gotten a piece of that Devonta shot when they were down 4 or 5. Devonta shot a 3, and we got the rebound because
he definitely bothered it. Belo was 50% from the floor today, which is elite. 7 of 14, 1 of 2 from 3, so he was 50% from 3 as well. 3 or 4 from the line, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, 7 offensive rebounds. Just say he was in the mix.
Yeah.
So
he had a similar game. I thought that, obviously tonight, one of his better games on the season, of course, and he's had quite a few to shout out, but similar performance tonight to what we saw that he had against Texas Tech and JT Toppin. I think he gets up for, star players, especially obviously both those guys coming into the Coliseum. So he stepped up to the occasion in both those
what
games.
A crowd today.
Yeah.
Very proud of the crowd that showed up today. That was awesome, man. You guys did a great job, those of you that were there. Wish I would live closer so I could come to more games, but it's like 5 hours for me. But yeah, I would just say, man, this team played so well tonight. So proud of this team. I don't have much negative to say at all. I felt like there was maybe one lull in the game where this team didn't score. Other than that, it was pretty good. And, there are always going to be things that you can clean up and be better at. But if this team can play like that offensively for the rest of the year, they'll be a tough out for anybody. Obviously there's levels to this, and BYU's defense not elite. It is good. It's not a bad defense, but I don't know where they were rated. I forgot to look, but it's not bad for sure. So Troy, let's jump into actually, you know what? We might as well go to break. We'll jump into it after the break. Let's cover the future of this team. And does West Virginia get back on the bubble after a win like this? We have to talk about it. And, of course, our friends, guys, and we love talking about them. If you didn't know, we have buddies that we love to talk about. Coast, it's acting up on me again, Troy. You'll just have to stay on the screen with me. Our friends at Coast say hello. And right now, guys, if you didn't know, they're offering a pretty incredible deal at Coast right now. And Coast is, an interesting company, I think, because of who they support in life. Basically, they're giving Locked On listeners $2,000 credit for your business when you get started today. If you manage a crew with construction, HVAC, landscaping, any operation with trucks on the road, you already know how messy gas and material spending can get. Cards get shared, receipts disappear, and month end, when you're counting those totals up, turn into a headache. Cost is going to be up, but CoastPay can fix all of that. CoastPay is a modern fuel card and expense management tool built specifically for fleets, fuel, maintenance, and materials, all in one card. With real control and instant visibility, every transaction shows up the moment it happens, no surprises, and if someone fuels up at an odd time, or if somebody tries to buy something outside their limits, you're going to know about that thing instantly. And real-time alerts are going to be involved here because that way you know who's spending what and where. Automatic receipt capture that makes the month end simple. Fraud protection with employee check-ins by text, no shared pins, and work anywhere Visa is accepted. Pretty good stuff. No detours to specific stations. It's built for the operators who don't have time to chase that paperwork. And unlike old fuel cards, there's no contracts or commitments, just smarter expense control. Right now, CoastPay is offering our listeners up to $2,000 credit when you get that started at coastpay.com/lockedoncollege. Go to coastpay.com/lockedoncollege to see how you can earn up to $2,000 credit where the terms apply. The Coast Visa commercial credit card is issued by Celtic Bank. All cards are accounted and subject to credit approval. And we are back here, Locked On West Virginia, with Mountaineer Moments. Troy, welcome back into the show, my dude, and I appreciate your time here. We have to ask the question of all questions, not the game time question. West Virginia basketball has put itself in a position now. You're tied with BYU in the conference at 8-8. You've won 17 games, which is the same as TCU.
They got 18 now.
I'm sorry, 18. Yeah, sorry. Obviously K-State, UCF remain. What are your thoughts on this West Virginia team getting back into the bubble conversation?
Well, it's amazing, because we've obviously called things must wins or this or that. And it's still an uphill battle. I don't think there's any denying that. But this does something toward the conversation and getting your name. I think you're using the right word there, back into that, because nobody anywhere had you in, and nobody anywhere has you in after this, but you're closer than you were a couple hours ago, would be the best way that I can put it. Obviously, this team, just Big 12 talk wise, I mean, you control your own destiny toward, finishing in the top half of the league, because you just beat BYU, and there's potential somehow, some way you could finish as high as 6, because of UCF and TCU ahead of you, and I mean, that would be insane. But all that to say, you're in the conversation. Not to put like a win total number on it as to magic number this or that. Obviously, you got to win the last 2, and you're going to have to make some noise in Kansas City. There's no doubt about it. But this was a step in the right direction. It feels good to win after that skid.
Can you tell me why TCU is considered an 11 seed? Because they've got wins over Florida and Iowa State?
Right. It's a great question.
Those are the only 2 wins they have. I mean, they lost to Utah just like we did. Like they lost to BYU.
Yep.
They lost to Houston. Like, they haven't beaten anybody besides those 2 teams. Now, don't get me wrong. They're, as a matter of fact, they're winning right now against K-State. But, you look at who they've got left on their schedule, they control their own destiny for sure. They beat Tech or Cincinnati, and they're probably solidified in. Because Cincinnati's also working to get in.
They sure are. Thankfully, we have the leg up on them with the head-to-head, beating them, sweeping them.
Well, I want to just keep rooting for Cincinnati to win out, I think. I don't know, because then they got to beat BYU.
Well, it's tough. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because I don't know, because maybe they're going to put Cincinnati in ahead of us, even if both teams win out, or if you meet them in Kansas City. It wouldn't put me past the committee I wouldn't put it past the committee to do that. TCU is interesting, obviously. I mean, obviously they 2 non-conference opponents that they played, lost to Michigan by 4, beat Florida. That's a tougher non-conference than we played, no doubt about it. And they have 18 wins, only 10 losses, and they beat us. We know this. And, at this point, if we're dreaming of getting in the field, that means we're dreaming of the committee putting in 9 teams, right? If you're counting the top 7 and you're counting TCU is in right now, that's 8. We want to be number 9, and Cincinnati's in that conversation somehow, some way. Oklahoma State, because they fell to who today? They fell to Cincinnati today in a blowout. They're removing themselves from that conversation. That's good news for us. I think it was good that Cincinnati won that game for us, because Oklahoma State obviously beat us. But it's a log jam, and there's only 2 games left to go in the regular season. But again, for a Mountaineer team to finish in the top half of the Big 12, and they don't have anything else around them to happen to do that, that's good news.
I still find it hard to believe that if we get to 20, how we're not going to get in. Here's the thing. I mean, obviously we have to win out. I get that, or win a couple games in the tournament. But if we win out, here's one thing that happened last year that I really felt strongly about. We got a bye last year, correct, in the tournament? Or did we play first? Big 12 tournament.
Yes, we played first.
I thought we had a bye.
I think. Let me look. I'll look.
Okay. There's a reason I asked this question.
Yeah, we played on Tuesday.
So we had a bye.
Does it start on Monday?
I don't know. I don't remember. I seem to remember thinking last year, maybe I'm off on it. I seem to remember thinking last year that, because I felt like last year we
did have a bye. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We were number 8.
Right. And so my thought last year was I wish we didn't have the bye, because I felt like we were going to beat no matter who we played in the opening round. We would have definitely got in.
Get another win.
And instead, we got a bye and got a tougher matchup.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get a tougher matchup. We just lost to a team we shouldn't have lost to.
Right. Yeah. 16
but
Colorado.
I mean, it was the matchup. I felt like we matched up better versus whoever it was going to be.
TCU.
TCU. That's right. I felt like we matched up better with them. And unfortunately, what happened. Now we still should have got in. So that's going to be something that sticks in our craw for the rest of the time. Can't change it. Old Bubba Cunningham. Just oh God. I thought about making like a Ren and Stimpy-esque cartoon about Bubba intimidating everybody in the room to make them vote for North Carolina.
There you go.
Well, Raven asked a good question in the chat. What'd you say?
I was just going to say here. I mean, here's the deal. You went out. You have the exact same regular season record as you did last year at 19-12. But you played 20 conference games last year. You went 500. You went out. Obviously, you're over 500 this year.
The over 500 in the conference is interesting because has anybody ever been over 500 and not got in Big 12 yet?
I looked up a couple of weeks ago, and the quick search result that it gave me was the only mention was West Virginia at 10-10.
Of course it was.
Didn't say anything about anybody over 500, but yeah, I mean, this is, you said it earlier, this 2 teams down the stretch that you already beat. It's tough to beat a team twice. I get that, but somehow, some way, this team is still alive in some way, shape, or form.
Well, that's because there's still 2 games left to torture West Virginia fans. You know what I mean? If we were definitely, if we were already out of it, no matter what we did, then this wouldn't have mattered, right? But now that there's there was just before today, there was 3 games and we were all hoping win 3 in a row, and so now we just have to keep hoping for 2 in a row, and then the last game will be like, oh my God, they might even be talking about us if we win, we're on the bubble. Who knows? And that'll be the game where I'm like, but whenever they stole the ball, and Rob Wright stole the ball there off of Honor Huff across midcourt, and they scored to get within 3. Brother, I was sitting there, man. My butt was clenched, Bubby. It was clenched. Raven asked a question in the chat. How do we replicate this thing going forward? You think that's the question that that's probably keeping old Ross Hodge awake at night, isn't it?
I think so. That's what I was about to say. I hope he has the key to that answer. But it's a good point. I mean, look at the offense the last couple of games, and there's different looks of it, as we've mentioned. Just it looks different. And this was a different win for West Virginia. There hasn't been a win like this on our schedule to date. Or a game like this, right, where we controlled for a long time and the other team came chipping away at us.
No, this is the first time
withstood that. I mean,
it felt really weird to me. I told Dave McCann, the BYU TV guy, we were texting during halftime. I said, Dave, this has not happened at all. They're doing things that, like when DJ was making those threes and stuff, I was telling him, like, this just hasn't happened yet this year. So, he said BYU had an identity crisis. But, that's whenever he made that second 3, my thought was that exactly. That's the one thing we've been missing all year is whenever we get a blow by and all that, like, we just don't have a guy outside of Honor, because I don't even consider Trey this, that you could just kick it to and feel good about the shot.
Yeah.
Honor's the only one.
Yeah.
So
hence the problem this year.
Yeah. All right. So prediction time, Troy. Try to take your subjectivity out of it. Be as objective as you can. Life on the line. You've got to predict West
Kick
Virginia's
it to DJ
future.
Thomas. What's that skit with Iguodala with the fate of the universe? And who was that?
Oh my God! Yes,
Max Kellerman.
Might have been Kellerman.
Give me Iguodala for 3.
He's
the
so
death
silly.
being pointed at her.
Oh God! That was a funny one. So obviously, the games we have remaining are must wins, and I need you to predict what's going to happen before we leave.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna make me predict that, and then I've got a question for you.
What?
Okay. Heck yeah, dude, I'm in. Let's go. Let's go beat them. Take care of business at K-State. Come back home, knock off UCF. Because I mean, think about you go take care of business on Tuesday. We come back on a Friday, by the way, Friday against UCF at home. Let's get that Coliseum rocking and let's beat them again. Another, you can finish the regular season with 2 wins of your last 3 wins over tournament teams. That's not a bad look to give the tournament selection committee. My question to you, let's say you do that. I hate getting hypothetical, but this win sucked me right back into doing it. And over at Mountaineer Moment, I said, I'm done doing it, but here we are. You win these last 2, and you're let's say the 8 seed in the tournament. You play the 9 or the 16, or whoever that's going to be. It might be BYU again. I imagine that. You beat them. Then you got to play like Arizona. Must win to get in the dance. So we would get to 19 regular season wins. Let's say we get to 20 in, with the bye. And then you got a date with whoever you play is going to be really, really good, whether it's Arizona, whether it's Houston, whether it's Iowa State. You're playing one of them in the, quote, it would be the 3rd round of the Big 12 tournament. I wonder where we would hypothetically be at that point.
Yeah. So are you asking me a question?
I'm asking you if that would be if you win 3 straight. Or 4 straight. BYU, K-State, UCF, first game in the Big 12 tournament. Then you got a date with Arizona. Must win game.
I'm going to say if you win a game in the Big 12 tournament and you win 3 in a row now, I'm going to say that you're in. But then again, losing, I don't know. It'll be really close probably, but I think it depends on number 1 who you play first, and then number 2 who you play second. So if we get lucky and get like a TCU or somebody that's like that we can knock out, similar like we can not. It's like an elimination kind of thing. Like basically whoever wins this first game in the tournament's most likely in.
Right. Would be that 8th Big 12 team. That would be, to me, that would be ideal. Absolutely ideal. As we see TCU start reeling, we play them early Big 12 tournament. And then, because obviously you don't want to take those odds if it's, we're going to win down the stretch, but then second game in Kansas City, we got to knock off Arizona to get in.
I mean, give me Kansas again. If we're going to have to go that route, I'll take Kansas again since we've already beaten them. We know we can do it. We don't match up well with the other teams, it seems.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know, and I'm not, making anything out of the Arizona and Houston and Iowa State. All 3 of those games were on the road, which you were going to lose wherever you played. But I'm just saying, Kansas, you played at home and you beat them. So it's going to depend on matchups and where you find yourself in those standings when all is said and done.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It's going to be crazy. This team is they're a headache to watch, but man, they're fun to watch when they're on, like tonight. That was the most fun I've had watching them this year. So, and you look at the minute totals. I mean, really only Honor is the only, and Jasper to an extent. Yeah. Lorien only played 30 minutes. I mean, I'll take that. Everybody else had pretty low minute totals. So, I mean, you shouldn't feel too awfully bad about what's to come as far as legs go. I mean, you've got, about 6-7 days off? You got a week off?
Huh.
No, we don't.
Tuesday,
I'm tripping. I'm looking at the month. I'm thinking there's 31 days in the month. It's February. So, yeah, you've only got three or 4 days. So,
the other thing I was going to say real quick, just because you're looking at the box score, reminded me. Maybe the most underrated thing that we haven't talked about yet is the fact that, again, Belo and Chance Moore guarding DeBonsa all game long, and each of them only picked up 2 fouls. Because I think Belo picked up 2 in the first half, and I was like, oh, no, that's not good. But he stayed out of foul trouble in the second half. DeBonsa, you could tell, if I remember correctly, early second half, when they went on that little run, he started attacking, trying to pick up a third on Belo early. That's obviously intentional, but Belo stayed in the game. That was huge.
Yeah. Yep. I agree, brother. Well, hey, big win for the Mountaineers tonight. Sorry to my BYU fans and not my fans, but to the BYU fans. You guys are my people. But you guys are going to be in either way. So even if you lose out, I imagine you'd probably sneak in. So, all right, y'all. We're going to bounce out of here. Thank you for being here. Make sure you go check Mountaineer Moment out. Troy will be recording over there. He'll have AJ DeBonta on. Just kidding. And we will see you guys on the next one here tomorrow. Locked on West Virginia. Go check out my video from earlier, by the way, when you get time. West Virginia makes the top 4 for the number 1 running back in the state of Iowa. A very good player, a very physical player. And we broke down the West Virginia pass rush today. 2 players, Harper Holloman and David Afogo, to see how they may up their game this year for West Virginia. And I really broke it down in depth. So, and I mean really in the weeds. I started talking about offensive line technique and I went pretty deep today. So for me anyways, we'll see you guys on the next one. Before you go, we have to ask you a question about the Everydayer Club. The Locked On Everydayer Club is something that we're doing. If you never miss an episode or most every episode, the Everydayer Club is going to be for you. Take Locked On West Virginia and you can get it ad-free, and you can get a members-only Discord and more. All you have to do is go to LockedOnPodcasts with an S.com/Everydayer Club and do that today. We'll see you guys on the next one, guys. Like I said, how many times have I said see you on the next one? Probably 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
It's a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be. Don't forget to cue those country roads, baby. Let's go!